So here, I started to work on figuring out, it's like a crown molding going around, just decorative. So what I did was determine the point center where it gives me a curve. So a little notch and a pencil, I can redefine that curve more precisely. So I get an even point here and here. Now with this mark, I've traced it on the paper, which I've then traced onto the stock that I'm going to use to make this. So what I've done is I bought some more thick stock. I have done a trace on here. So I'm going to cut out two to match. So I cut one side. I'll just do a preliminary check to see how it looks. I have enough to make my 45s on both sides. Now, I can flip it over to the other side, cutting the other one. These have to be cleaned up, of course. Moved my router table over by the saw because my lathe is in the way of where it was. So I figured out what I'm going to do is these pieces, which I have this done to the round that matches the top there, I decided to use the same profiling bit that makes the raised panels. So I'm just going to keep going away little by little until I get down to have this edge. That means I'll have to drop here. Then I'll figure out what bit I want to use there, if anything. And then at the end, all I have to do is cut out the top to match the curve I want. So I think it's going to work all right, but it's going to be a slow process, and I have to be really careful because these guys are big. For example, when I'm cutting face side down, and I have the fence set so at the lowest point, I'm against the fence. I have to be careful when you're starting, come across against the fence, then here. So at all times, I'm running against the roller ball here to follow this curve. Just to give you a little recap. Pieces, left and right. And the one that's the small little 45 go down into the piece. So these are cut. I'll have to figure out what to do here. Okay, I've done the final cuts where it goes on here. I need to do the round to match this over here. I had to pick up some more material because I ran out. So I'll be doing the same router work, create that profile trim, but this is for the sides of the clock. So I have the top decorative pieces made, but I still have to do the sides. So I'll get started on that. I have these two rough cuts, the pattern. On the back, I want to trace this out so this curve sort of matches this one. I'll be using the jigsaw. See, See how the cut piece sort of fits in? 45 here, 45 there. And I have these pieces which go in this way at the end. Give us a nice end profile. I need to sand this down. Okay, I got the first piece set up in my chop saw. You have to be careful, make sure that you get the cut I want it. Test it in place. Okay, now to test in place. I'm going to take this piece by piece and glue up this first piece, then go from there. But will that affect how I make the cut later? I need to recess this back. Yesterday I glued up the pieces for around the top of the clock. Let's try them out. I think that definitely makes a statement. But before I glue them in permanently, I need to sand them down, clean them up. And there's a few small tear-outs from such extensive router work I have to take care of. And of course, all my pencil marks. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll just go through it fast, I'm assuming. Now I have these basically sanded. Let's look at gluing them all so they're permanent. The only thing I need to decide is here, how much of that do I want to show? So I can come right down. Well, I can leave a bit of a lip. One thing I need to do is I know we need to research this up a little bit more. Which I'm going to do with this one again. Yeah, I'm going to work with that and make this flush here. Okay, just to give you a bit of an overview. They've been glued in and clamped. And what I did was I measured in the bottom there up to here, and that spacing is the same. And this side is clamped down. So I just let it dry. Then I got a little bit more sanding to clean the rough edges up and take care of glue. I'll bring you back.